chose the star problems, like I said, like, I don't know if you guys have this frustration, but I remember when I was in classes, I remember teachers going over the easy problems and then sending me home and they assigned all the hard problems. So I'm going to try to do the hard problems but break them down. So I took 3.26 because it was starred, so it must be hard. So the idea here is that you have a salesperson and they can contact either 1 or 2 customers per day. They give you those probabilities. And each contact will result with either a no sale, $50,000 sale, with probabilities 0.9 and 0.1 respectively. And what they want is they want the mean and standard deviations for the daily sales. I don't know if you've heard this, but we will never use R in this class. So when you are calculating means and standard deviations, you go to the book, you find the definition. It will become a habit. So I'm giving you bad news all the time. I'm going to tell you that my students last semester did well. So at the end of the day, they all were using the book, and their homework got better and better towards the end. And I think they said it got easier, which is not, that can't be true, right? The material gets harder. So there's a good endpoint here. I've seen students do it over and over and over again, and I'll get you there. You're going to get there. Stick with me. All right, so the first step in any of these problems, which I was thinking about this when I was helping you. I become a better teacher when it helps. I'm begging you to contact me for help because it's going to make our classroom time better. So when I help you, I found I'm asking you to do things like write down what you're seeing in terms of notation. So that's the first step. You have to do it. All those things you skipped in other class, you can't do it here. So write down all the information you're given and transform that information into some kind of mathematical notation. So I couldn't do it all the way yet, but the salesperson can contact 1 person per day with the probability. I just wrote it out so I have it in front of me, not in that paragraph form of the text. There's something about writing something too, and they've done research studies on this. When we write something, we understand it better, which is why I love my slide notes, and I love that it's posted on as a playlist, but I wasn't doing the students a service by not having them write down and take notes. So just knowing that that's the best way to learn, take those notes. Take notes. Got it? You write fast. Okay, figure out what they're looking for. They're looking for the probability distribution of the daily sales and the mean and standard deviation of the daily sales. So, if you're like me, you go straight to the problems, then I go back and flip in the book. You can also read the section before. It'll probably make it easier if you do that. I've always done it the other way, backwards. But either way, if you go back into the book and look, you'll find out that you need, I still have that on the slide, a screenshot over there. You need to convert all those things into mathematical notation because in this section, they have definitions with mathematical notation. The first thing they have is in all of their descriptions, they need a random variable. Last semester, I spent a lot of time discussing what a random variable was. That's not as important as knowing how to use it. So the daily sales are the random variable here. So just like the events in your first homework, determining what your random variable is important. That's where you start. So you can send me a text. I think my random variable should be this. Am I right or wrong? Work with me as you're going along, and I'll usually immediately text you back. And then think about what values your random variable can take on. They'll either give you a distribution. I'm going to give you a board problem today where you're going to use a distribution, or they will give you information in the problem to tell you what that random variable can take on. But this random variable is, you're going to look at the probability of y equals little y. So you want to know what that little y is. So that makes no sense. If I look at the daily sales, you either had a possibility of no sales, 1 sale, or 2 sales. Because they can make a sale by contacting customers and none of them decided to buy, or they could make contact with 1 customer and the customer decided to buy, or 2 customers, and then they made both customers that they contacted actually made a sale. So those are the only possible values that y can take on. And that's why this is called a discrete probability, because it can only take on a non-continuous form of values. You can have an infinite number of values, which we're going to do next. And Where am I getting that information from? I'm just pulling it from my list. And I put a little red arrow so you can see where I'm pulling it from. I'm not a writer, actually. I write the least amount of any mathematician I know. So if I'm writing this much, it's because I had to. Okay, so there's my random variable. And then I gotta find the probabilities for each value of y. That's how you find the probability distribution. So the probability that y takes on the value 0, I just wrote it out in words so I can see it. It's the probability that they contacted one customer times the probability it wasn't a sale. Because it said at the beginning of the problem the salesperson can contact 1 or 2 customers. Or plus the probability that they contacted 2 customers and there was no sale. And this stuff is like, it's tricky when you're trying to think through a problem. So if you worked with me already, you know that I'll start asking you questions so I lead you to this point. I'll make you work for it, but I'll get you to that point so that you're able to know what it is you're splitting apart. Or what it is that, thinking of all possibilities.
Wouldn't it just be the probability of sale?
Well, no sale can happen 2 ways, right? The salesperson contacted no customers and or contacted 1 customer and there was no sale, or they contacted 2 customers and there were no sales.
But wouldn't those 2 probabilities just sum up to the probability of no sale?
Yeah, that's what it's. Probability that there were no sales. That's what I'm calculating.
But we're given that.
No, we're not given that. We're calculating it. I have to go to the next slide and people are still writing. It'll make sense once I get to the next slide. They didn't give me the probability that the daily sales ended up with no sale. So for example, they gave me this probability that if they contacted 1 customer, there's a 1/3, so where I got arrows where I got that from. If there was 1 customer contacted, that's the probability of 1/3, and that sale ended up not happening, that's 0.9. Good?
Plus the probability.
Yeah, I split it up into 2 pieces because I know you're taking notes, so I didn't want to lose.
But then that just sums to 0.9.
No, because if you contacted 2 customers, you have 2/3 chance of contacting 2 customers, and then each one of them ended up with not a sale, so they get 0.9 times 0.9. Yeah, do check my arithmetic. I'm terrible at arithmetic. I want to check that. I had to teach arithmetic. That's the first class I had to teach outside of going from West Point. I taught at an urban college where I had to teach arithmetic without a calculator. They thought I was stupid. I hadn't worked without a calculator for so long. Had fractions and get common denominators. Ew. Okay, good? All right. I knew you'd be tired by this time. I didn't know the yawn would happen before I started, but... So based on what I did, I want you to do the 100,000, and I'll explain why. You know, I was watching Colonel Scaletti out there working his notes, and he's like, I made like 3 algebra errors just preparing my notes. And I said, this is the thing that cadets don't see. They don't see us in our office cooking up these lecture notes that look perfect when they come up. So I thought, I'm going to tell you where I spun my wheels, but I'm going to eliminate that for you. So that it's eliminated for you, but know that I spun my wheels for a while. But I'm having you calculate the big one, that they got 2 sales. All right? So I think you can take boards immediately and go on this one. It's not a big thing. It's a big problem.